great podcasts? Do you love great Australian podcasts? Of course you do. Australians make incredible podcasts. And if you want to stay up to date with the best Australian shows, then check out Oz Podcasts. Look for us on social media and find your new favourite show from the Australian podcast directory on ozpodcast.com.au. That's OZPODCASTS, ozpodcast.com.au. Check it out.
If you like new stuff before anybody else, if you like to keep your finger on the pulse, if you like the future and want to be in it, keep on listening because we'll start in a minute. Techwebcast, the hosts and guests are unsurpassed. Techwebcast, cause technology it moves so fast. Techwebcast, ha, stick around and you're gonna have a blast. Yeah, Techwebcast, ha, ha. Techwebcast. Let's go!
And welcome to episode 332 of the Techwebcast podcast, recorded on the 9th of May 2015. Techwebcast is recorded every Saturday at midday Melbourne time. Please rate us on iTunes and like us at facebook.com/techwebcast. Follow us on Twitter at Techwebcast. Download the Techwebcast iPhone app. Your hosts today are Brad, Brian, Steve, Jacob, and myself, Jody Rains. And we have a very special guest today, Jason from TechAU. You can find that at techau.com.au. How you doing, Brad?
Hey, Jody, how are you?
I am super swell. How are you?
I am super swell.
Somebody sent me Tim Tams.
Yeah, you did.
And that's like, they're delicious. I am
very
like
nice.
so enjoying them.
Very nice indeed.
Yes.
Very nice indeed. How do you like them, Jody?
I love Tim Tams. I mean, your chocolate is so, like, it's just rich and they melt. I mean, it's not like our waxy chocolate here. Very, very good.
Yeah, it is a very nice chocolate Cadbury. All right, how's your week, Jody? What have you been up to? Anything to report on?
Oh, yeah. Well, this week, Jewel competed in a couple of dog shows, and she wound up winning Best of Breed on one of them, and which was pretty exciting. And I also had an opportunity to show a beautiful German Shepherd named Lucy, and Lucy also won Best of Breed. So it was a pretty cool week in the dog show world for us. And work was okay, too.
Good stuff. Good on you, Jody. We've got Steve on. Welcome, Steve. How's your week been?
Oop, my mic muted. Pretty good. It's been nothing really went on that this week for me. It's been pretty slow.
Been a good week, though?
Oh, yeah. Nothing.
Good stuff, mate. All right, we've got Brian Brewer back on, filling in for Andrew and Jennifer. Welcome back, Brian. How are you, mate?
Oh, I see. I'm a replacement. Okay, I see how it is.
Well,
Hey, everybody.
We needed more people. I didn't, you've asked me a few times to come back on, and so.
Okay, well, yeah, it's all good. Busy with work. Got to go back to work tonight at 2:00 in the morning to swap out a power supply.
Jeez, how long does that take to do?
Probably 15 minutes.
Jeez, that's all right.
Yeah, I get paid overtime.
Pay overtime.
I'd hope so. 2 in the morning.
Yeah, 2 in the morning. You must be getting a lot of money for that.
Well, it's Friday here, so it's going to be 2:00 in the morning, Saturday morning. That I technically I don't leave till 1:00 in the morning. So.
Wow. Okay. All right. You enjoy your venture at 2 a.m. in the morning, Brian. Listen, how you go.
Yay.
Yay for you. And you're getting something very soon too, Brian. We can't mention it's a secret.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But anyway. Okay, Jacob, what's up?
Not much, Brad. What's up with you?
How's your week been, mate?
All right.
What have you been up to?
Fixing my front door.
Yeah? You helping your dad?
Yeah, I put a brand new door on there. It's not done yet.
Okay. Nice one.
I have to see. No, the door was starting to get rusted.
Did you put your leg? Did you kick it?
I did.
Kick
Actually,
the door
Brad,
down.
yes, I did.
Did you take an axe to it and go, "Here's Johnny"?
Pretty much.
No, I actually put my I had a steel-toed boot on at the time. I bruised the door.
So what are you calling it, Bruce?
Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Jason from TechAU, welcome to the show, mate. How's your week been?
Hey, good, thank you. Yeah, crazy busy as usual, I guess. A lot of reviews going on at the moment, and just generally crazy time in tech. Certainly, Microsoft have had a couple of conferences in the last 2 weeks, and then we had the big Elon Musk Powerwall announcement. So it's been sort of a busy week in tech, I guess, and trying to keep up with all that and publish articles and get some other jobs done at the same time. It's been nuts, but good. We love it.
What's your view on the Apple Watch?
Interesting product. Obviously, anytime Apple makes a move and enters a market, then it's certainly something to pay attention to. I guess the one thing that they really haven't done yet is shown how, that the real reason you need a watch versus Android Wear, for example, like why they're doing it better or are able to deliver more information to you in interesting ways than just, notifications and some fun little apps and stuff. It's really, for the person who's still deciding about wearables, they really haven't had a strong answer as to why you absolutely need one.
Well, personally, I think the Apple Watch is a way better design and it's made by Apple.
Yeah, like the made by Apple thing is not a feature, right? It's something that will definitely mean they get lots of sales. People do buy products just because they have the Apple logo on them. But really what I'm looking for is the killer app, the killer experience that you can't get on your phone, that is only available through the watch. That really helps change your life and how you go about the world. And it's neat to get notifications on your wrist, so you don't have to pull out your phone.
Yeah.
We wrote this story this week about Australia Post being able to open your digital locker using the watch.
Oh, yes.
So they've got an app there,
Yep.
that's neat. But yeah, if you're on the fence about whether you're going to get one, they're really not doing anything that's not already being done on Android Wear. So it's not in a meaningful way. And certainly the fitness stuff is already been done by Fitbit for a long time. So it's just still waiting for that amazing killer experience that means every single one of us have to have one.
Well, I've ordered mine, Jason, so I should get mine very soon. So,
yeah, look, I've reviewed the Moto 360, and that's kind of a neat thing. And the people that get the Apple Watch, I know a bunch of them that have them, and they love them, right?
Yeah.
They're a neat accessory, something we've not had. I haven't worn a watch for like 20 years, and so it's really kind of a different thing to go back to wearing a watch. And these are obviously a lot smarter. I would like to see them evolve to more of like a smart bracelet that is, a much larger screen that you can interact with and do more with. But I think that's a generational thing, and battery life is an issue, obviously, and curved screens, and all that's got to come together, and it will over the next few years.
okay, all right, good stuff.
Actually-
What about you, Brian? Go ahead, JD. Sorry.
No, actually, I said something real quick.
Okay,
Since you
so-
guys mentioned the Apple Watch, I just wanted to tell you guys about this news, which I thought was kind of interesting. This is by Consumer Reports. They tested 11 different watches, and they found the Apple Watch to be the best as far as durability and some of the other. I'm not going to go through the entire list. I think low light, health functionality, and so on. And also, I noticed when I did the update on my phone, I believe it's iOS version 8.3, I noticed a new application. I believe it's for the Apple Watch. I don't know if you guys got that.
Yes, I got that on my phone. Yep.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, I'm not really going to get one, but for those who do, you have the app that'll help you sync to your iPhone and help you with stuff like that. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, very easy to use. Just pair it with the watch, and away you go. So it's very easy to use. What about you, Jody? Are you getting the Apple Watch soon, or?
Not soon, only because I just don't have the discretionary funds right now, and I don't see the compelling reason to get one. I mean, it would be fun to get it. I still haven't gotten over to the Apple Store even to see it. So, my thought is that it's going to be big for my wrist, but I will get one at some point. Probably the next version.
Okay, cool.
I wanted to make a hologram. That's what I want.
Okay.
You know, like so it just kind of like emerges from your watch, and you can create like a little person and interact with it.
That'd be cool.
Hologram. Yeah.
That'd be cool. What about you, Brian? What's your view on the Apple Watch, mate?
It's expensive. I have no real need for it right now because of the work environment I'm in. I would probably, break it, and I crawl around on the floor digging for cables and stuff, so it would just get in the way from me.
Okay.
But I will say that's not my secret that I have.
What's that?
That's not the secret that I have.
I thought it was.
No.
Oh, that's what.
It's just too expensive.
That's what someone said to me.
And
I think it was.
that ain't happening.
Okay.
Well, my question is, Brad, do you plan to get yours spray painted gold?
No, I won't be doing that.
Have you seen the video
Yes,
of them spray painting gold?
That's crazy.
Have you seen the results after a week? It's all chipped off.
No surprise.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's Sam Sheffer from The Verge was the one that did it, and he posted photos like a week afterwards, and all the gold paint had chipped off. Maybe it was. I mean, it was definitely a neat viral thing that happened, that he created the video in the first place, and the guy did it. But it was purely for YouTube views, not for longevity of the watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, it would have been for the views. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't cheap out on buy the sport and paint it gold and end up with an edition. It just doesn't work that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I got something to say about the Apple.
Go ahead, Jacob.
They dropped the price of the gold watch.
No, they did not do that. No, they did not.
They said
I asked about that yesterday, mate, and he said no, they did not drop the price.
They didn't?
Nope. I don't know where you got your information from, but that's completely.
I got it from a reputable website.
Well, that's wrong then, because I asked.
Unless it's Apple.com.
I actually asked someone about it, and they said no, they did not drop the price. The price hasn't been dropped.
It would be very early and a bad sign if they were dropping the price.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure what website was it, Jacob?
I don't remember, but it was on my Facebook.
I don't believe everything you see, mate.
I'll look for it and I'll send it to you.
Please do. All right, let's go to some news, Steve. Here you go, Steve.
Okay.
Are you ready?
United Arab Emirates.
Just before you start,
like
it's going to take
it.
me a little while to switch to do the story because I got to switch screenshots so everybody can see. So, okay.
Okay, mate. So here we go.
Looking at the exciting news of the tech world on the Techwebcast, our first story comes from The Verge. Comcast
That's all you have to
Comcast
say.
will release a 4K cable box this year. Comcast already streams 4K content to Samsung's most recent TVs with its Xfinity and UHD app. But soon the cable company will produce its own 4K set-top box. Today, Comcast announced that this device, the Xi4, will ship later this year. Aside from being the Comcast's first 4K box, the Xi4 is also the latest revision to its X1 platform. A model that adds support for high dynamic range HDR content will follow sometime in 2016. And our next story is going to be from Engadget. Apple confirms tattoos can mess with the watch's heart sensor.
Wasn't that on last week's show? That news story?
I can't remember. Let me check.
Pretty sure it was.
Okay, we'll
That's new, Brad.
What's that, Jacob?
It's brand new.
Okay, I'm swear I should have heard it last week, but anyway, keep going, Steve.
Okay, Apple confirms tattoos can mess with the watch heart sensor. After the internet was awash with reports that tattoos can negatively affect the Apple Watch's heart rate sensor, Apple has confirmed the issue with its website in a page dedicated to explaining how the watch captures your vitals. The company notes permanent or temporary changes to your skin, such as some tattoos, can also impact heart rate sensor performance. Adding the ink pattern and saturation of some tattoos can block light from the sensors, making it difficult to get reliable readings. Next story here is from also The Verge. Apple reportedly working on a new Apple TV remote with touchpad. Apple's infrared remote control has basically been the same for the past 8 years, but that's about to change. Citing an unnamed Apple employee, the New York Times said Apple's upcoming Apple TV redesign will also sport a brand new remote control to better help users navigate thanks to touch-sensitive pad area. The Times says there will also still be 2 buttons, presumably the same ones for menu and play pause, but that's the new touch-sensitive area can also be used for scrolling around the interface. On the last 3 generations of the Apple TV boxes, that has been accomplished by a 4-way control pad. The change could mean easier navigating around the Apple interface, but also means that the remote control is also a tad thicker and closer to one Amazon ships with its Fire TV, the Times says. This one is from Uber, and I'm trying to find that story now. Uber is trying to buy Nokia's Here Maps, according to a report by the New York Times. The taxi-hailing startup has allegedly put in a $3 billion, that is with a B, for what is largely seen as Google Maps' largest competitor. Nokia was rumored to be putting up the Here for sale for a while now, with numerous bidders on the table, including Yahoo, Samsung, and Tencent, aside from Uber. The move makes sense with Uber, among several others, recently trying to distance itself from Google services, which seems to be more as a competitor every day. After all, Uber is reportedly looking at making self-driving cars, while Google is reportedly looking into providing driverless taxi services, although these claims were met with doubts. And our next story here, Apple has quietly added a new page to the sports site that details its first web crawler. A crawler is a bot used by searching engines such as Google and Bing that automatically scans the web for pages and information to add to an index and provides information when pages change. Apple's crawler, which existed previously but has never been detailed by the company, identifies itself as Applebot, which could indicate a future push into the full web search. Right now, Apple says its crawler is used to add data such as movie information to Siri and Spotlight. You can exclude Applebot from searching your site by updating the robot's text file on your site. The company's deal to use Google as default search engine on iOS is reportedly due to expire soon, and rumors have indicated in the past that Apple may quietly be building a search engine of its own. And I think I may have one more. This is on TiVo. And let me switch this on one as well. TiVo Romeo OTA now selling for $300 with no service fees. TiVo has announced new pricing on its entry-level Romeo OTA, which is now available for $300 with no outgoing monthly costs. The Romeo OTA is virtually identical to the standard Romeo, but it lacks the cable card slot and so requires an over-the-air antenna to tune in TV channels. The Romeo OTA offers streaming services such as Netflix and Amazon, in addition to 4 tuners and a built-in 500-gigabyte drive. Previously, the Romeo OTA was available for $49.95 upfront with a $15 per month charge. But the new price is a much better deal if you plan to keep the product for 18 months or longer, which presumably you would. With the new pricing, the Romeo OTA is not the best over-the-air DVR, as we have found in our review, but also the best value. The only other fee free competitor is the good but ultimately inferior Channel Master DVR at $250. It requires you to add your own hard drive, which costs around $50 for a 500 gigabyte version. Representatives from TiVo has confirmed this is a limited one-time offer, but said in an end date that has yet to be set. The company was unavailable to comment on what this new pricing means for existing customers. And that is today's news on the Tech Webcast.
Great stuff, Steve. What's your view on them stories, real quick, mate? I'll get to Jason.
I think I did have one. The Apple TV remote. Didn't it use like an IR sensor or something like that for it to work? I mean, I didn't have one, and
I think it did.
To me, that's you usually got to do it point of sight, which often that's one of the disadvantages of TV remotes. But the ones that use something like wireless, you can use it in any location if something's blocking it or so forth. So any improvement in the remote.
Yep. I use the remote app on my iPhone, Steve, for the Apple TV. That works fantastic.
And I'm guessing that what does that use? Bluetooth? Well, it's probably a form of wireless, either Wi-Fi or
I think so. The Apple remote.
Or you said your iPhone. You're using that.
Yeah, I use the iPhone. There's an app called Remote for the iPhone.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I use that. That works great. And it's perfect. Anything else, Steve, you want to mention, mate?
I think there might have been one more here. And the tattoos on the watches, and it's something I didn't even think about myself, but it does make sense. Anything that would confuse or obscure
the only way it's going to affect
sensor.
the Apple Watch if you have a tattoo right down,
it's
down to your wrist.
Yeah,
but most people don't have that. I haven't seen many people have that. Them tattoos sort of.
Yeah,
right
it's
down
pretty rare, but
it is very. What's your view on the 4K set-top box, cable box, Steve?
That's interesting. Obviously, you would have to have a 4K television, and I'm guessing the majority of people right now, because I know how people buy televisions, they don't normally go out and buy it just to buy a 4K. They usually wait till their TV kind of goes out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Of course, we could ask the rest of the panel and see what their thoughts are on it, but so, you'd have to see if this is for you. If you already have a 4K television, it might be worth it. Yeah,
well, my next TV is going to be a 4K TV, so whenever I do buy next TV, it's going to be 4K. So, yeah. And the TiVo, what the TiVo price? That's a pretty good deal, Steve. The TiVo.
I don't know much about TiVos. Let me look at the price.
I thought you were interested in getting one. Weren't you going to get one a while back?
Well, of course, the DVR function is really interesting, but the only thing is you got to buy a subscription, and
How much is a subscription, Jake? About $14 a month. That's $15 a month.
$14.99.
$14.99. That's pretty good. I would pay that just for that. That's a pretty good service. I would pay that. I would, personally. All right, let's go to Jacob. What about you? What's your view on them stories, Jacob? Real quick, man. Jacob? Oh, God, okay.
Brad, I'm back.
For God's sake.
My thing double-clicked on my mic.
God, okay, keep going, mate. What's your view on them stories?
Sorry about that.
You're right, go on.
What I was going to say was the tattoos are pretty weird. Not many people would have that.
No, I haven't seen many people with sleeve tattoos right down to their own hand. I've seen people with tattoos on their hand, on their palm, but them.
On the wrist, yeah. Just don't have it on the arm that you're going to have your watch on.
Yeah, exactly. All right, anything else, Jacob?
That's about it.
All right, let's go, Jason. What's your view on them stories, mate?
All right, let's do a quick whip around of all these stories and my opinion on them. So, first of all, the TiVo. TiVo in Australia had a long history. That history is now ended with TiVo no longer in Australia. But one thing that was special about Australia TiVo was that it was a purchase price and no ongoing subscription. So that was stark contrast to what typically happens in the States with a subscription plan. So this actually I sent an update on that story that says that TiVo's confirmed the special offer has now ended on that $300 with no service fees. So it seems like they were experimenting with that, and it'd be interesting to see if they do get great support for that and are able to transition away from a monthly pricing model to a static price, or at least having that as an option to buy. So that's my thoughts on that. I personally have a Humax Fortune, and that's awesome. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that story. The next one on Comcast and their 4K box. I think Netflix is really the 4K solution that I'm looking at. I agree with you, Brad. My next display will definitely be a 4K. Even if I get new computer monitors, they're going to be 4K. That's just where it's at. And my solution to get content to that will be Netflix. So I'm not really concerned about other providers. Netflix seems to have as much as I want. And if not, it's YouTube 4K support as well. So, and that's just a growing catalog. So the next story, Apple working on the TV remote with the touchpad. Really, as you said, Brad, that already is here for people with an iPhone or an iOS device. They can use that remote app, which is awesome. Now, the cost question, I guess, comes up because this is Apple's cheapest product, right? And so to add a touch-sensitive device or remote control might add a reasonable, proportion of their cost to the price. So you wouldn't want that to jump from $100 to 150 or whatever just because of a new control. So they've got to work out how that makes sense. And obviously that having that touch interaction is much more intuitive than the static buttons they've got at the moment. And if you don't have a device, like imagine you've got that remote down on the coffee table and anyone in the house can come pick kids or whatever, the phone isn't always a good option for controlling the Apple TV. So it's good the core remote would actually have that feature enabled. The next is that tattoo stuff on the Apple Watch. I really think this is a fringe case, and people do go looking for problems with products. And this is a prime example that's not a problem, but they're making it one. You're right in that it's a tiny percentage of people who have tattoos on their wrists. It's the footballers of the world, or the rock artists or whatever, that have the full sleeve, and it's almost. It's even rarer to have both arms tattooed, right? So maybe you just have to make the choice you wear it on the other side. And the real reason for that is it's reflecting light, like it's pumping light into your wrist so it can watch the blood pass through your veins. And, if it can't do that reliably, it can't get an accurate measurement. So bad luck, you got to wear a Fitbit or something else that does it in a different way. So not a huge problem. In terms of the probably the most interesting one for me is this Uber purchase of Here Maps. So Here Maps obviously was powering Windows Phone and the navigation on that. And after Nokia sold that off to Microsoft, the Here Maps is something they retained. So it is the only mapping service that's on the market right now. So there's Google Maps, Apple Maps, and Here. And so if Uber wants one to power their services, which is exploding, we've seen 1 million rides being delivered in the last 12 months in Sydney alone. So that service is growing. The valuation is ridiculous. And if they want to empower their drivers to have better navigation, more routes, better options, and fastest time for users, buying a mapping service, $3 billion sounds a lot to us, but it's probably not a lot to them. The final one is the Apple web crawler. I think inevitably they are not going to produce a web search engine like Google or Bing. What they're going to do is use that smarts to power Siri. It's the single biggest reason they could use search and have intelligence about the web. And it is an area that's weak for them, I think. And so knowing more about what's happening on the web would definitely help their products.
All right. Is that it, Jason?
That's it. That's me.
That's it. Now, have you heard about the new ICE TV set-top box at all, Jason?
I have, yes. The Skipper, whatever it's called. Yeah. It's neat, and I'm really surprised they're allowed to sell it, but I guess that's it. That, you can imagine the broadcasters being pretty unhappy that people are able to automatically skip ads.
Yes.
It's one thing if you fast forward through a recording, but another to have it automated for you. And so potentially you could have somebody watching shows for free without ever watching the advertising. So
love it.
Advertising is what pays for the shows to be, produced, and the whole system to work. So look, it's great for consumers, not a problem at all. I think if that product came out in the US, it'd be a different story. But yeah, it's neat for consumers, and if that's what you're after out of your TV viewing experience, go for it.
Yeah, definitely.
I personally am getting more of my content from online, and if that happens from something like Hulu or Netflix, you can't really skip the ads on there. So
exactly, yeah. Have you seen the IQ3 at all, Jason? What's your view on that at all?
Personally, I haven't had hands-on with it, but I read a lot of reports online that there was massive issues in the software on release, so it seems like they rushed it out a little bit. Certainly an upgrade in terms of quality and features set over the previous models. But yeah, they need to rapidly iterate the software to get it to the point that's stable, reliable, and turn that around is going to be hard, because once people have a bad experience, they're unlikely to fall in love with the product, which is what you want people to do.
Exactly. I really love the interface of the IQ3. It's really nice. It's really simple.
No, they've done a good job for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's really nice interface and that sort of stuff. What about Jody? What's your view on them stories?
I just have a couple of thoughts about a couple of the stories. Regarding the Apple TV, I don't know about you, Brad. I have one, but I find it very difficult to navigate. And particularly periodically when they ask to input the password again for the
with the remote.
Yeah, you have to scroll through and the capitals and the lowercase.
Well,
I get it done, but it just seems to take a long time.
Yeah, definitely. As I said to Steve, get the remote up for your iPhone. That would just fix it.
Well, you know what? I haven't tried that, but I was thinking while we were talking, with regard to the Apple Watch. I mean, I don't always have my phone. I'd say probably 90% of the time I have my phone, but sometimes I actually do leave it on the charger or in another room. It'd be nice to have something just on my wrist.
Yeah, exactly.
That, I think that would be a good use for the watch. But so that was my thought on that story. With regard to the tattoos and the Apple Watch. All right, so this may seem like a really dumb question, but have there been any reports that any of us have seen with regard to skin color and the ability of the watch to be able to function?
No.
Because if tattoos are affecting its ability to scan, I mean, that would a darker skin color then?
No, I don't think so. I think it's the light reflection. So it's the layers beneath the skin which are important, and obviously the ink penetrates the skin and is a protective, or I guess a barrier between that. So that the skin color itself is not the issue. It's because the light spectrum works on think of like infrared or UV kind of. It's not like light that we see. It's kind of deeper than that, and so it's really just sending that light pulse into the body, I guess, and then waiting for it to refract or reflect, and then monitoring that. So yeah, I have not heard or seen any reports of it on darker skin. Even if you had the blacker skin that you had, that you can think of, it hasn't been reported, and they would have thought through that, right? There's no way they would release a product and have a certain demographic have serious issues with it.
Interesting, yeah. And I guess the only other question regarding the Apple crawler, I mean, that's basically the way Google started, and Google still has Googlebot that crawls various websites. I guess one of the things that I like and I hate about Google as a search engine is that they've built in all of these different criteria in an effort to be more effective or to deliver results better. So there's a certain screening or filtering process that goes on, and we've come to appreciate that, and it's down to individually what we're searching for and geographically where we're located. And it would be kind of nice to have a pure search engine that doesn't do that. So I don't know if that's the direction that Apple's going. It's interesting that they do have a crawler. I didn't realize they did, but I'd be curious where they're going with that. So those are my thoughts.
All right, good stuff, Brian. What about you, mate? Have I asked you yet?
No, I don't think you did.
No, you have not.
Okay, go ahead, Brian. What's your view on them stories, mate?
Well, let's see. TiVo, having never had a TiVo before, now that you can get one for $300 up front, even though it's not a cable card. I may look into one, try it out. I don't know.
Once you go TiVo, you never go back, mate. Trust me.
True. Comcast, that story with their with their thing of revamping their customer service. The 4K box, it's kind of shady to me because 4K technically has not hit the actual standard yet. They're supposed to come out with an actual standard, written in stone type thing, because as of right now, 4K is just, most of these TV manufacturers is just marketing terms. So we'll find out, and usually I take the advice from Scott Wilkinson. He's on the Twit network. He does home theater, and so he gets involved in all that stuff, so he knows what he's talking about.
Definitely. Yeah,
as
so
for
can
the
I just
web
mention on that, just on that 4K stuff, at CES this year, which I was lucky enough to go to in Vegas, the UHD Alliance was announced, and so the UHD Alliance is a bunch of companies, Netflix being one of the founder members, and they are formulating the standards for. So 4K is an official standard now, and what they're doing is iterating it over time, and they're including things like HDR as part of that standard. So. That they are going to move forward, and that's not going to stop at 4K. It's going to be 8K and beyond. So there is this UHD Alliance that will be the body that decides all that.
Yeah, but I'm mainly talking about, they could come out with the actual standard TVs this year, but TVs sold for the past 3 years, they're not following them. What if they don't work? That's all. But we'll see. I have a 1080p TV right now. I've seen a 4K TV, and it was like, okay, nothing really spectacular, unless if I'm, sitting pressing my nose against it and go, ooh, look at the snowflake.
Yeah, I've also seen 4K too, Brian, and I think the quality looks fantastic on a 4K. Cool.
You just have to be careful that in store they're not running 1080p content through it.
Yeah, true.
But the big thing that you have to realize is that it's the providers that need to push the 4K. I mean, we saw, especially in the States here, how long it took for 1080p to come out in HD and stuff. That the providers, especially network broadcasters, they're not going to upgrade unless if there's a lot of people to do that. So this could be another few years out.
Exactly. Well, Foxtel, the Freeview, won't be doing any 4K content anytime soon. Is that correct, Jason? Or that wouldn't be anytime soon, would it?
Yeah, look, we're at this awkward situation where some of our Freeview is still SD, right? And it's a long road to hoe to get to 4K from there. But a lot of the issue with that is actually the crowded broadcast spectrum. And so there's it's a licensing layer to it as well. It's very complex, but without a doubt, the distribution method of 4K will be over IP. So things like the Netflix distribution model will work, and you see Presto and that sort of stuff. They're not 4K support yet, but those other streaming services will add 4K, and that will be how it gets to our homes. It's not going to be over the air.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it'd be cool once they get to the over the air, but
I agree. I reckon it'd be good to have it over the air. I reckon, and then.
Yeah, it's good. It's just there's technical challenges that it would stop you from doing that. And the thing about IP, if you've got the bandwidth, and that's only ever going to increase over time, is that you're not restricted in terms of channels. I mean, we really have a similar amount of channels now that we've had for quite a while, and to grow that unlimited is the only way to do that is over IP.
Yeah.
I'll see here.
Exactly. Even Channel 31, they're moving to IP as well at the end of the year.
Yeah, we see them dip the toe in it with all the catch-up services already doing it that way. So it's not a hard leap to make to go to live.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Go ahead, Steve. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say that. It depends on your service provider, because here in America, it's taken forever trying to get these IP service providers to give us the bandwidth, cost and upgrading their networks, and at least. Companies like Google Fiber come in and really make it competitive for these cable providers to up their services, upgrade their systems, provide a better price, but it's kind of slow. So we need to also take a look at that as well, to be able to use 4K to through services like Netflix and others as well.
All right.
Most of these cable companies go by the premise of why do hard work when you don't have to. They're the monopoly, but now Google Fiber's coming around, and you see all these stories like Time Warner increasing, people's bandwidth from like 50 to 300 megabits per second, which isn't, gigabit speed, but, just say, oh, we'll just flip a switch. Bam, right there. But, my last, comment, the tattoos, no, it kind of sucks, but this is a 1.0 product. The touchpad remote, okay, I can control my Apple TV with my Samsung phone.
Can you really?
Yeah, I mean it's an infrared port.
Oh, true. Good point. I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Good point.
The Uber thing. Okay.
I love Uber. I've been using it for a long run.
I have never used Uber.
Try it out, mate. It's fantastic.
I don't have anywhere really to go that unless they're willing to take me to work for a lot lower cost. But the big thing is the web crawler search. To me, I can see this as Apple's way of controlling the environment. They want to get everybody into their ecosystem, and you live in the ecosystem. They control the entire user experience. Everything that you will do. I could probably say it is their goal that everything is Apple. Not.
So
no
how would it work with this web crawler then? I mean, how does the two connect as far as
you? Well, I mean, just think. You get a web crawler, you have a search engine. Therefore, Siri will default to that search engine. And if they make it really good, better than Google, and let's face it, Apple could buy Google if they wanted to. I believe.
I know.
I have to look up the stock report
to see what happened with that. Anyway,
but
I'll give a quick
it's just
Go ahead, Brian.
But it's just my view of it's their next step into controlling the entire user experience, because that is what makes Apple so good. That's
Exactly.
what
Spot on.
everyone loves
Love
about it.
Love Apple. Also, shout out to Belinda B. Demi on Twitter. Good, she's listening to the podcast right now. So hello to her, and I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Let's go to Jason. Let's talk about your website for a minute, Jason.
Yeah, sure thing, Brad. What do you have questions about it?
How long has it been around for, and what have you been up to lately? Last time we chatted.
Cool. So TechAU has been around. Next year is going to be 10 years, so big sort of anniversary coming up. But it's been an amazing ride. Like I've been afforded amazing opportunities just to go to different events and fly around the world, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Was fortunate enough to go to CES this year, which is something I'd covered for years from home, and to actually get there and do it in person was phenomenal. It is as big as they say, football fields worth of tech products. And when you see companies like Oculus there with a massive booth, and then you see announcements from them, like the one we had this week, that Oculus will come out, a consumer version, in Q1 of 2016. It's sort of great to see something at the start of the year, and then it I guess arrive onto the market later in the year. So that's the case in a lot of TVs and cameras and all that sort of good stuff. But look, the site, I guess, is just we continue to pump out new stories every single day and covering the latest in technology. But reviews is core to what the site does. So everyone can take a press release and redigest it and spit out 500 words. But
yeah,
I think the original content is, I guess, or what I would hope sets it apart from other sites. And I spend a lot of time and write a lot of words and about products, phones and tablets and cameras and you name it. Reviewing Foxtel Play on the Xbox One, so services as well.
How do you like that?
Yeah, it's good, man. Obviously, we'd love higher quality in the streams.
Can I just say now? I'll give you a tip right now. HD is coming soon.
Cool. Yeah, I mean I'm viewing it on a 52-inch display, right? And when we start to think that people are putting 65+ inch displays, SD is really just not an option on that size. So we need it to be HD and ideally 4K in the future. So it's obviously a huge cost to them to push that kind of content, but for the user experience, when it comes to sport, last weekend, for example, I was watching the V8 Supercars streaming on Foxtel Play, and it was fine. I got to enjoy the sport, which I love. But then they had a replay that night, I think, and it was in 1080 on one, and the differences was dramatic. I mean, no comparison there. So I hope that we arrive at that sooner rather than later. But the review for that will be out in the next couple of days, along with things like a HTC One M9 and a bunch of other stuff. But look, things are going well. The site's growing, which is great. We always sort of love to see traffic up and to the right, which is amazing. And yeah, just continue to do it because I love it, right? And I guess the latest thing that I fell in love with was Project Cars, which just came out this week. And yeah, so the same day I got it, I then ended up going and buying a steering wheel. So steering wheel and pedals, Thrustmaster Ferrari 458 Spider ones, and for a decent, couple $100, it's a decent wheel and pedals. So it turns go-karting and I guess any kind of cars, but Formula Ones to go-karts into a good driving experience. So I'm really enjoying that right now, and that's probably what a lot of this weekend will go to.
Good stuff, mate. So were you actually sponsored to go to the CS, or?
Yeah, that's right. So Ford was the sponsor there. So typically these tech companies will when they have good stories to tell, they'll fly out journalists to events, and that's just how the industry works. And yeah, I was fortunate enough that I got to go. So their story was really about technology in their cars, which is obviously happening everywhere. But broader than that, they have a mobility message, which is they want to start using data to change the way that we transport around the world. So think of something like if they put sensors in your car that measured shock absorber movements, and they also were tracking your GPS at the time, that you would be able to arrive at a data set that you could provide to local councils about where potholes in the roads are and which ones need to be addressed the most, the highest priority ones to address first. So they may end up transitioning from a company that just outputs cars to a company that provides services and charges money and makes revenue from services like that. So but they could also then, if they had a collective knowledge of where everyone was going in terms of everyone who drives a Ford, was going in the city and routing them, instead of everybody being routed the same way, if they had thousands of vehicles that were all said, I need to go here, and they all got routed the same way, like a normal GPS today, that would actually create a congestion problem. But if you knew about where are the other people going and their navigation routes, then you could combine that and recommend alternates so you never arrive at congestion in the city. So, it's an amazingly, once you get this data set from vehicles, it's an amazing, powerful thing. And so that's a lot of what they talked about at the show.
Sounds good, Jason. Any questions, Jody?
Oh, my dogs are being so bad in the background. Yeah, Jason, first of all, we miss you terribly. And we do. And I love the website. I love what you're doing. I know you had been doing some apps, too. What are you doing now with apps?
Yeah, definitely. So apps are one of these things that I work on at night, right? So up till 2 a.m. and that sort of stuff developing. And a lot of that work is not visible until the app comes out, right? So at the moment, I'm working on a universal app for TechAU. It'll be branded TechAU 2. So it's a huge leap forward in terms of design and functionality and things like that. So compared to what we have at the moment. But the key there is it's a universal app. So it'll be the same app that runs on the phone, that runs on the screen. And in the future, that will also run on the Xbox. So really looking forward to that platform when we get Windows to scale to any screen. And that's a hard job as a developer. There's work for us to do, but it's an enjoyable challenge. And now that I have the technical skills to be able to develop apps, which I'm self-taught, but all the resources online, if you're motivated enough to learn it and spend the time, you have an idea and then you can execute on it. So I've been approached by a couple of people and businesses that see what I do and they want apps for themselves. So everything for the man, I built their Windows 8 and Windows Phone app as well. So it's a neat gig. It's using a different part of your brain, I think, than writing and the journalism side of things that I do. But I enjoy it. It allows me to be creative. And, if you have the right idea and you throw it in the store and you put a price on it, well, you can make a bit of money while you sleep. So it's I love it.
There you go. Yeah, and what kind of companies are you looking for to connect with you, and what do you want to offer them?
Yeah, look, after using things like this steering wheel and that, like I start to think about physical and software together, like hardware and software pairing together. So there's a lot of challenges in the world that you can go after. It's like, I don't want to build like another calculator or a weather app or something, like the thousand of apps that are out there. I want to build something unique and different. My app will be a newsreader app for my site, right? But I start to think about the possibilities and going into the gaps in the industries that I guess aren't well serviced. And some of those are the less sexier parts, like the business apps and stuff like that. But if you can solve a productivity or like make inroads into the productivity inside organizations, you can save that organization like thousands of dollars and hundreds of man hours just by making one thing easier or simpler or faster to do. So I think the devices that we have around us, whether it's like Connect or whether it's your phones or your watches, they're all producing this amazing data set. And the government as well, like the Australian is fantastic with data.gov.au, and America has a similar thing where they open source a lot of the government data sets. So to look through that stuff and say, oh, look, I could create an app that surfaces this, this, and this, and it does that in a new way no one's done before. I love those sorts of challenges. So there's not specific companies that I would say like, hey, I need to work with you, but just different ideas really, and then going and saying, hey, do you have an API? And then yes, if the answer to that is yes, then what am I going to do with that, and how am I going to create something different? So Twit, for example, you mentioned them before, Brad. They're releasing an API soon, and they'll have new universal apps come out based on that. So I'll be looking at those sorts of things as well. But a lot of good stuff.
Sounds good. Have you checked out the new screensavers, Jason?
Yeah, I watched the first one live, which is cool.
Yeah.
It's different, right? It's different than the original, but it should be. It's called the new screensavers, I think, for a reason. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for Patrick Norton. He's an amazing dude with a lot of knowledge, and he's into cars and stuff as well. So it's neat to watch him and the rest of the crew sort of get together. And I think Kevin Rose is going to be on, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's on.
Talking watches this week. So
yeah, that should be good.
Everyone to look out for.
Yeah, definitely. Brian, any questions for Jason?
Oh, let's see. I'm just gonna say that looking over your website, it is kind of cool and stuff.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, there's always room for improvement, right?
Oh yeah,
the job's never done. That's the thing. Even the site design, you can come up with something, and then you're like, 2 years on, you start to look at that and you want to refresh it. So it's just a time question a lot of the time. But
hey, you got the Interact on Google Plus. Nice.
Yep.
But
no, it's we try and be everywhere, right? Go wherever. I haven't done Snapchat, right? I haven't been there, but Instagram, certainly I'm active, and Twitter is my base. 10,000 followers on Twitter, and Facebook is sort of auto posts, but I want to do more with that this year and grow that audience as well. So, yep.
Yeah, definitely sounds good, mate. Jacob, any questions?
Not really.
All right, mate. So why are you here then? Okay, let's go to Steve. Any questions?
He lost the game.
You said?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. Your website seems to be quite large. Do you have somebody helping you with different aspects of it and also do you do this full time, or do you do something else on the side?
So TechAU is one of my many hats. I also teach and work at TAFE as well. So I'm a blended learning developer, which means I help teachers get their courses online, for example. But I also teach at Cert 4 in interactive digital media. So that's fully online course that I teach as well, and I run TechAU and I develop apps. So yeah, many hats, but TechAU, I guess, is just something I really love. It's the thing I'm most passionate about, and look, when there's amazing companies and people doing amazing things in the world, I definitely want to help them spread the word and tell that message. And I'm fortunate enough now to have grown the audience to a point where I can do that, and have a number of companies that will approach me and say, hey, come along to the event, or we want to give you early access to this, or whatever it be. So I really appreciate that stuff. It's fantastic. And one example of that is the Tesla store in Richmond this weekend is the first store in real retail store and service store in Victoria, in Australia, and going along on Thursday to their VIP opening. So that stuff is awesome, but I love that company. So it's hard not to just fall in love with things like that. So, yeah.
So Jason, you reckon you ever leave your main job and just work on the blog?
Look, that's a hard thing to say, Brad. That's always possible. I have a dream that I will develop an app that makes money, as I said before, while I'm sleeping, and if that is to the volume that would support me and a family, that would be amazing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
The opportunity is there. It's just about having the right thing at the right time, at the right price, and marketing it really well. So, look, there definitely could be a future. At some point, we'll build a house, and I'll be building a home office with the intention that I could work from home or whatever out of there. So
definitely,
yep.
definitely. Have
The
you seen
great thing about it is I can do this work, anywhere in the world with power and Wi-Fi, basically. So it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What does Simone think about all this? What does she think about what you do?
Oh, look, I think she appreciates what I do, the hard hours. She's very accommodating and certainly lets me do what I need to. And, there's times where I need to go away for, a weekend or a week at a time, like CES, leaving home and being away from her, which is, I guess, tough. And then certainly will be tougher when we start a family. But hugely supportive of what I do. And no, it's amazing to have her. And yeah.
Good on her. What else, Jason, do you want to mention before we wrap up, mate? Any other things?
No, look, I just love being on podcasts like this and talking to similar-minded people about technology. It's a great place to be, and sorry it took me so long to come back.
No, all good, mate. All good. Are you going to be doing any podcasting yourself anytime?
Yes. So yeah, I think so. So I used to do podcasts in HD and video, right? So that was an amazing timely thing to do. It would basically be shooting it for an hour and then 8 hours of editing by the time you add in the overlays and cuts and stuff. So, and then export it and upload. So as those things have become more common and bandwidth has increased, that production time can come down to an hour or two. So I think now is probably the right time to start thinking about getting back into that. I do have to weigh that up in terms of a time investment, and I could spit out, 3-4 articles in that time. So it's just, you got to balance that and say, well, what's the following of the podcast versus versus writing in the site. The site is definitely my biggest traffic, so I still focus there. But I think there are things that benefit from a visual explanation, and that would be the time where I think I need to do an episode of the podcast. So I don't think I'd do exactly what I did before. I think it'd be new and different, but not too far away.
Well, if you got any other more spare time, come back on any time, Jason. You're welcome to come back on, mate.
Well, I'll work on a clone, and then I'll give you the clone for a day. How's that?
Sure, mate. Yep. Sounds good. Sounds good, mate. Sounds good. Thanks for being on. Appreciate your time.
Not a problem at all. Thanks for having me.
No problem, mate. Where can they get hold of you if they want to ask any more questions?
Certainly at TechAU on Twitter. That's the handle everywhere, pretty much. If you're on Xbox, I'll be playing Project Cars over the weekend.
Sweet.
And just techau.com.au is where I publish all my stuff.
Good stuff, mate. Appreciate your time. Thanks, Jason.
No worries.
Thank you. And Jody Ranks, how the Tim Tams, and where can they get hold of you?
Oh, I love Tim Tams. You can find me at webmarcom.net. That's my website. You can find me here at Techwebcast. On Twitter, I am Sunswept. And pretty much everywhere else, you can find me as either Jody Rains or webmarcom.net.
Good stuff. And they were selling Tim Tams at Target, Jody. Is that correct?
What's that?
They were selling Tim Tams at Target, at your Target, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I couldn't believe
Pepperidge Farm is doing it.
I was walking through, and they had them, but they didn't have the white ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they're, oh, gosh, I love Tim Tams.
They're the right ones from Australia, right? I hope they're not the fake ones.
Fake Tim Tams.
It did say Tim Tam. I didn't look at them that carefully, but yeah.
That's cool.
Pepperidge Farm is doing
Good stuff.
it.
All right, you can get me on Twitter at Brad Odds and Tech Webcast. Brian, what about you, mate? What's your final view of the show and that stuff?
Let's see. I see Jason on Xbox Live a lot, so should play him sometime. But not much else for me. I gotta go to work in 2 hours.
Yeah, okay. Well, let you go.
But I'm fine right now.
Right.
But as for Twitter and Twitter, Facebook, and Google Plus, it's my name, Brian Boer. I primarily do all my postings on Google Plus, which then gets shared out to Facebook and Twitter. So you can follow me all over there. BRINBOOHER. And if you can't find my picture, it's I just changed it. It's me holding my lightsaber for Star Wars Day.
All right. What about you, Jacob?
Yes, and I have a actual question.
Go ahead, mate, and ask away.
Well, it took me a little while to think because you all were asking the good questions. Well, this one's like, what is your favorite tech that you've seen this year?
God, that is an amazing question. My favorite tech this year. Look, the thing with the most promise, I would say, to really change the way we go about the world is Microsoft's HoloLens. Has a lot of promise, but the version they showed off in January was a developer version and everyone raved about it. And then they just showed a new updated version of it, more sort of the consumer headset and no wires and stuff. They showed that at Build and everyone walked away from that as pretty disappointing because the field of view that you get isn't sort of expansive. It doesn't take over your whole view. It's just a small sort of window in front of your eyes. So if they can address that and they can make it as good as it looks in their promos, I think that product can really change the way that we do education and learning and training, and as well as entertainment aspects like gaming. It could be massive. So that's the most interesting, I would say. That's like way out there that we just never thought. Like, it's not another version of a phone. It's not it's something that we were expecting. It's kind of from left field, and it's really neat. So that augmented reality is potentially big, but we'll wait and see till the product comes out.
All right, Jacob. What else you want to say, mate?
All I have to say is thank you for letting me be on.
That's all right, mate. We're going to get hold of you.
JazzBot326691Z.
All right. Anyone else we missed out, Jacob? Steve, have you asked Steve?
Oh, it was a great show. It's great to have Brian Boer back, and as well as Jason from TechAU, seeing some of his things he's been doing. Of course, he's been back before, but I learned a lot of new stuff that I didn't know.
It was like 2 years ago, wasn't it? 2 years, maybe?
Far too long, Brad.
Yeah, too long.
Yeah.
Okay, what else is, Steve, what else you want to say, mate?
Oh, yeah, that's it. You can find me on Twitter as Cheddarbox_live.
All right. Did we ask everyone, Brian? Jody, we asked you?
Yeah, Jody. Yeah, she...
Okay.
Yes, you did. I'm sorry. I'm on mute because my dogs have been...
Oh, okay. Cool.
So, sorry.
All right. Thanks for being on, Jason. See you all next week. Andrew should be back, and so should Jennifer be back next week, so that should be good. Jennifer actually met Craig Ship, Jody.
Poor Jennifer. I mean...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Wow.
So that should be an interesting conversation next week.
Their career.
Yeah. Yeah, for both of them.
Yeah.
And, interestingly enough, I saw no pictures of the two of them together.
No, I didn't either.
Which leads me to believe that they could be one and the same person.
Yeah,
Pics or it never happened.
But yeah, Jake, what about you? What do you think about this?
No comment.
I mean, you have a high opinion of Craig Ship, but you don't want to say it on air.
Because I'll probably get banned off every site possible.
Yeah, probably.
Incidentally, did you see Craig's review after 10 days of his
I did.
watch?
I did.
Did you happen to notice that during the whole time he had Audrey?
Yes, I know. Yes.
He had
It's
what?
like, really?
Yeah, that's really.
He had what?
Audrey. He's infatuated with this young girl named Audrey.
We're still recording, by the way, Jody.
That's okay. She's a hooper, and I mean she's a lovely young lady. But and Craig, we love you dearly, but you really are infatuated with her. And in any case, on his watch, every time he flips it over, it's like he's calling Audrey on it. It's got Audrey's picture. So I don't know. Maybe he thinks it looks cooler with Audrey's picture on it than something else. I don't know.
Well, he should be calling Jody, not Audrey.
Or Jennifer.
Exactly.
There you go.
I'm going to start to hoop now.
You should. Absolutely. I think everybody should be hooping.
Yeah, hoop. All right. That's a wrap. Thanks, guys, for being on.
Would you like to see me do that? Yeah.
What's that, Brian?
Would you like to see me hoop?
No.
I didn't say I had to see it. I think everybody should do it.
Techwebcast.
See you guys.
The hosts and guests are unsurpassed. Tech Webcast. Cause technology, it moves so fast. Tech Webcast. Ha! Stick around and you're gonna have a blast. Yeah! Tech Webcast. Ha! Ha! Tech Webcast. Big ups to Andrew, to Brad, Jody, Steve, and Jennifer. Boom!